Here.
Senator Berger.
Here.
Senator Brown. Here. Senator Huff. Senator Lewis. Senator Lewis. Senator McCurry. Here. Senator Shore.
We have a quorum. Today we're hearing two bills. First bill up is Senator Crawford, Senate Bill 1423, whenever you're ready. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. For the record, Sandy Crawford, District 28. Let me start by saying we were using a sub, and it went from 20-some pages to 3, so just make sure you're on the right thing. We ended up taking out one whole piece that we decided there's going to be another way to fix it, so we're not going to use that. So this will be using the sub. So currently our statutes that govern physician licensure contain several outdated provisions that unnecessarily delay the licensure process. For example, the applicants have to submit their high school and college transcripts and diplomas, even though they already have to present them to medical school for admission. The Board of Healing Arts has required applicants to submit other items that statutes don't require, and this has led to applicants waiting more than 3 months for licensure. Senate Bill 1423, the substitute, removes the unnecessary requirements and prohibits the state board from requiring items that are not required in the statutes. This will reduce wait times for licensing. I represent several rural hospitals in my area, and this is one of the things that I've heard from them probably the most about that negatively affects them. They have a physician hired and they can't get their license through, so they're waiting on that to start work. And so I've had to, on several occasions, call the department and ask them to expedite a license, and I might also say that they're always very responsive when I do call. But this will just hopefully streamline the process while still protecting the process. So happy to answer questions.
Thank you, Senator. Are there any questions? Senator Berger.
Thank you for bringing this forward. Who would be against this? Senator, would you know?
I guess we're going to find out.
And why would they be against it? Do we know that?
You know, maybe just some of the particulars, if that's, you know, I guess we'll see. I'm not sure if anyone's going to be against it today or not, so we'll see.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Senator McCurry.
Sorry, I'm just now looking at the sub. So did you remove everything dealing with unaccredited programs?
With the pharmacy piece, all that pharmacy piece is removed.
Okay,
Yes.
so in the bill I prepped for, it talked about when an applicant completes unaccredited post-grad training in a medical subspecialty. That's not in the...
I believe that is still in there. Can you tell me which section you're looking at? Section 334.031 is still in there. We're taking out some of the language, but it sounds like what you were talking about would be on page 2, potentially.
Well, it was on page 23 of the sub. I'm trying to compare it was on page 23 of the original you gave us. Yeah, I think that the part that I had questions on has been removed about unaccredited post-grad training. All right, thank you.
Senator Lewis, you have a question?
Good afternoon, Senator.
Good afternoon.
And, thanks for the sub. I'll have to take a look at it. But I have a question just based on your testimony that you said it takes unnecessary work for these applicants to get licensed here in the state of Missouri, and we don't want to have to do redundant work. But a couple years ago, we passed the licensure compact with physicians. So how does this work with the compact? That was supposed to streamline the process. So
I don't know that I can answer that. Potentially somebody behind me can, but I'm not going to pretend that I can answer that.
Okay, I'll save it. Thanks.
Sure, thanks.
Any other questions for Senator Crawford? All right, seeing none, are there any witnesses testify in favor of this bill? Whenever you're ready, please come forward.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Rob Monsas on behalf of the Missouri Hospital Association, here to testify in favor. We very much appreciate Senator Crawford's tenacity in dealing with this issue. We've been at this for a few years. She's been the sponsor the last couple of years. We have had bills on this topic for the last 4 years. As she said, this is all about streamlining and about getting a process that makes sense and really conforms with how other boards in professional registration do their work. And so by cleaning up the statutes, it would allow for the background check to essentially be done on behalf of the physicians that are applying for licensure, which will greatly streamline that whole process. We would also point out that that the state of Missouri has the benefit of having a lot of medical schools in the state and a lot of training in this regard. So anything that's done to streamline this process is going to benefit the ability to get these people here. As the senator said, there's been delays at different points in time, like 3 to 6 months. I would commend the Board of Healing Arts. The backlog, I think, is much more manageable now than it has been in years past. So I think we're down to a more manageable position. But it still, I don't think, obviates the need to this up. And I mean, the way the situation is now, applicants are essentially kind of doing their own background checks and doing a lot of work that a lot of other boards under the professional registration group don't have to do. So we're just trying to streamline that. Senator McCreary, to your question, I think the piece that you were looking at is not in the sub, so I think that's no longer there. The pieces that were taken out were related to hospital pharmacy. Those are things that are being done administratively with the director and the Department of Health and Senior Services. So we've got a great working relationship with them, and they're addressing those things functionally that way. So there's no need to provide statutes changes in that regard. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Great testimony, Rob. Senator Lewis, you have a question?
Thanks. Just the same question that I asked the sponsor, and I don't know if you're the right person, but hopefully the right person. Just how does this work?
Yeah, the interplay with the compact. I don't know that interplay. I know there's some folks here from the Division of Professional Registration that might know that. If not, we're happy to get that answer for you and follow up, Senator.
Okay, because yeah, I really appreciate getting them streamlined and processed quicker. I absolutely support that, and I did sponsor the medical licensure compact a couple years ago, had bipartisan support, and so I'm just thinking like all that work we did to get a bill passed, and it's still not.
My gut reaction would be a lot of what we're trying to do is to provide a different set of rails for the Board of Healing Arts so that it simplifies. I mean, there are some things that they're responding to that are in state statute. Okay, and so this cleans some of that up. I don't know that really changes the interplay with the interstate compact. Okay. But like I say, someone else might be able to answer that more directly.
Thank you.
Any questions? Any other questions for the witness? All right, seeing none. Next witness testify in favor of the bill. Are there any witnesses testify in opposition to the bill? Whenever you're ready.
Lisa Panett with Armorvine. I have not seen the 3-page bill, so I'm only going off the bill that I could read and look at. This says that candidates for license as physicians and surgeons there had evidence of good moral character, and that was being changed to evidence of good moral character by submitting to a criminal background check. So that's a substantial difference there, because now we're just saying that's all that that means by having good moral character is having a background check. It also said that 60 semester hours of college credits in acceptable subjects leading towards the degree of Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science from an accredited college or university. So that would have been any college or university. And this changed that to a school accredited by the Liaison Committee on Medical Education, the Commission on Osteopathic College Accreditation, a similar accrediting agency, or some reputable medical college. So before, it was any college, and this is changing that to a medical college, and then it goes on to say, or a valid certification from the Educational Commission for foreign medical graduates. So that's not something that we had addressed in the past, and so now we're encompassing foreign medical graduates. And lastly, on page 22, it said that the board may require applicants to disclose any past or pending investigations. And I would just like to go on the record and say that we had many of our good doctors during COVID were under pending investigations because of prescribing hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, things like that, that we actually have bills now to say that we want to go ahead and make sure that we legalize those for everyone because they worked. And so I would just caution who we are saying that we want to ensure that they have to hand over investigations and what that may mean to them in the end. And that's all that I found from the bill that I had to read.
Thank you for your testimony. Are there any questions for the witness? All right, hearing none. Next witness, are there any other witnesses testify in opposition to the bill?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Arne C. A.C. Dinoff, State Public Advocate. A lot of these compact bills I really don't like because they are driven and submitted to legislators by special interest groups. Six-figure lobbyists, they want a special free pass. And so in this case, I have to oppose this bill, 1423. I enjoy and like local control. I believe in our Department of Professional Registration, our divisions that cover nurses and doctors and medical professions, the hospital industry. I think that we could do a lot better local control rather than some of these national compacts. In my opinion, after reading this bill protects bad actors. Bad actors will go under the radar and will slip into Missouri. An example is in O'Fallon, for example, there was a chiropractor that did some bad things. He now has accepted a felony plea in a number of cases, but he slipped into Mississippi. And I called down there in Mississippi and they said that they can't do conduct for other locations. And so that's really discouraging. And for those reasons, I feel that there's a lot of bad actors that are escaping their criminal past or criminal ongoing pending charges, whether it's a grand jury or from a prosecutor. I feel that other states aren't finding out this information in the national databases. For this reason, I don't like this bill. I don't like any bills that talk about giving special passes or credit or educational background. And so therefore, I am opposing this bill. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for your testimony. Are there any questions for the witness? All right, seeing none. Are there any other witnesses testifying in opposition to the bill? For informational purposes only? That means they're really against it.
Senator Crawford knows my feeling. Mr. Chair, members of the committee, Wes Sutton, Deputy Division Director, Division of Professional Registration. Just wanted to quickly answer Senator Lewis's question about compacts. As this is written, really this already lays out many of the things that are already required in statute. It kind of takes away some of the rulemaking pieces. There are additional things required by the board for application. We are not concerned about this in regard to it creating conflict with our compact laws. We're is good to go from a compact standpoint. So happy to answer any other questions.
Any questions for the witness? Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
Are there any other witnesses that are against this bill but don't want to admit it? Hearing none, Senator, do you have any other comments?
Just one quick comment. The reason I'm passionate about this bill is because it really did come from my district. And every year, matter of fact, Rob was in the room, we meet with one of my hospitals in the fall to see what their concerns are. And every year, this was one of the concerns they brought forward. So this really is a constituent-driven bill for me, and I know that other hospitals were having the same issue too, but I just want to thank the professional registration because they have worked with us on this. I don't actually think they're against it, Mr. Chairman, just for the record. So anyway, thank you for hearing the bill today.
Thank you for your bringing it forward, and you can count on my support. Next bill up, Senate Bill 895, Senator Ben Brown, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. For the record, I am State Senator Ben Brown in the 26th District, and I'd like to thank you all for the opportunity to present Senate Bill 895. One of the most pressing issues facing our state is the ongoing labor shortage. Contributing factors to this are that our state has fallen short in terms of attracting new talent. In fact, over the last decade, we've experienced the slowest rate of population growth in Missouri's history. This bill aims to help address that problem and will make it easier for skilled workers to move here, find a job, and to get to work. SB 895 stipulates that if someone has 3 years of work experience from a job in a state that does not require a statewide license, they would be able to apply that real-world experience towards obtaining a temporary 2-year license. This would allow them to continue to work and provide for their family while completing any remaining education or other requirements needed to qualify for their permanent license. This bill also applies to military service, so it would ease the transition to civilian life for those who have served. The 2-year temporary license was compromise language we arrived at the very first year I filed this bill, which was supported by professional registration. We believe this struck the right balance between allowing our state to be more competitive in terms of attracting talented, competent people to the workforce while maintaining safeguards to protect the health and safety of every Missourian. This bill passed the Senate with a vote of 28-1 last year, and in 2023, the first year I filed it, with a vote of 33-1. Missouri has passed reforms to offer license reciprocity to those moving from a state with a current license. This bill would simply open that door to those who have the proper qualifications and skills, but who by no fault of their own just happen to work in a state without their own statewide license. In order to apply for the temporary license, professionals must show proof of real-world experience, which can be verified through wage statements and employment background checks with the applicant covering the costs. An applicant would also still be required to pass any state or board-required testing to ensure that they possess the necessary qualifications and are competent in their field. This ensures that no one would be able to obtain a license without first demonstrating the proper expertise, whether obtained through stringent educational requirements or real-world experience. This policy has also already been tested. 10 states have enacted similar policies, including 3 that directly border our state. This means there are at least 3 states in direct competition with us for labor that currently have a leg up. This bill simply allows us to bring Missouri more in line with border states like Iowa, Kansas, and Mississippi, and stay competitive in terms of attracting talented, hardworking people to our state. Thank you, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for bringing this bill up. Are there any questions for the Senator? Senator McCreary.
Good afternoon. So I've got some questions on page 2 of the bill. Starts on line 26. I'm just wondering of logistically how a Missouri oversight body would know if somebody from another state had their license revoked, or if they're under investigation, or if there's a complaint pending. I'm wondering how Missouri would know that.
So there are requirements for information that is required, and forgive me, I don't have my marked up copy, I just have the standard, but I believe that there's a background check process that's part of that as well. So there's always also the opportunity to reach out to the oversight body in the other state before approving any kind of license as well. So there are a few different methods of which that could be obtained.
So you're saying it would be up to whatever the applicable oversight body is in the state of Missouri to reach out to the state where that person was practicing to request all that information?
Well, if you wanted to get information about like disciplinary history, anything like that it would be much easier to obtain that information than obtaining all the information that would be required for the full-time license. So it's kind of streamlining the process for both the applicant and for the oversight body to allow someone to, at least for a 2-year period of time, to be able to continue operating in their trade.
Okay. And then another concern I have is on line 34 on that same page. You're talking about that they shall be citizens of the United States. There are situations, especially with some of these professions that you have listed, where people would move here for training, schooling, jobs, and they're actually here lawfully. Are you open to working on that language so that we could be respectful of people that are from other parts of the world that are here, legally, because there's a shortage of professions?
I think that there's some way that we could work on that language. I believe that there was concern over people moving here from another country where the training might be different, the education might be different, and so I think that was part of the concern here, but I imagine we could find a path to where we could maybe narrow that to ensure that it's only applicable to exactly what we're trying to prevent.
I would like to work with you on that. And the bill we just heard right before this, they've worked through a process where you can deal with physicians and surgeons that have had training in foreign lands. So I think there's probably a way to work that out to make sure that we are not lowering our standards. So, very good. Thank you.
Any other questions for Senator Brown? Hearing none, are there any witnesses testify in favor of the bill? Whenever you're ready, please come forward.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. James Harris, registered lobbyist for FGA Action, testify in support. And first, Mr. Chairman, I want to apologize. I should have had more clients file PR bills, so I could have had some earlier opportunities to come before this committee. This is kind of a simple bill. In PR, professional registration, this won't impact probably 85–90% of boards, because over the years, most states have adopted similar training requirements, multi-state compacts, etc. But there are, about 25 or 30 professions like interpreters, makeup artists, interior design, where some states require it, some don't, and there's kind of a probably unintended hole for some people if you come to Missouri from a state that doesn't require the licensing, and this would just allow you to prove your work. One of the questions on the background check, I believe this was added a year or two ago, not to pertain to these boards per se, because again, this bill would only impact someone coming to Missouri as maybe a makeup artist from a state that doesn't license the makeup artist to be applied. But there was a concern just in general with reciprocity, I think, and other things about making sure if someone had a complaint in another state. So I think that's why that was added as kind of a belt and suspenders, if you will. Lastly, the other question a member of the committee had on kind of a pathway for non-citizens, people educated internationally. I've got another client that would love to do that, because there's a lot of people that come to Washington University that have gone to very good colleges, but under our current standard, they have to go redo the residency program, which puts them at a competitive disadvantage from recruiting maybe some of the talent we want. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the witness? All right, seeing none. Are there any other witnesses testify in favor of the bill?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Sam Panettiere on behalf of United We. They're a nonpartisan nonprofit think tank in Kansas City focused on women's economic and civic advancement. I'd like to go on record in support of the bill. We are generally supportive of any measures to reduce barriers in occupational licensing. Research shows that women are disproportionately affected by some of these barriers for their entry or re-entry into the labor force. So appreciate the sponsor bringing this forward and this committee's support in years past.
Thank you for your testimony. Are there questions for the witness? All right, hearing none. Are there any other witnesses testify in favor of the bill? Any witnesses testify in opposition?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Arnie C., AC Dinoff, State Public Advocate. I can't support this bill, SB 895, because 2 years is too long not to protect Missouri citizens without taking the required tests. I'd be more applicable or an amendment to 90 or 120 days that they have to take the test. I think that's a reasonable amount of time. But again, this bill is putting our citizens in jeopardy and putting the consumer protections of Missourians in jeopardy. I take those very seriously, protections of Missourians for their safety, to make sure that not allowing bad actors into Missouri. A lot of these people slip through the cracks, like I gave you the example in O'Fallon. That chiropractor was charged by a grand jury in St. Charles County Circuit Court. He pled guilty to felony charges, but he moved down to Mississippi, slipped into there, and guess what? That state couldn't do anything about it. So he opened up shop and was doing the same type of unethical, immoral conduct down in Mississippi. And so I feel that this bill takes away consumer protections and also takes away the required testing within a reasonable amount of time. For those reasons, I do not support the bill. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Are there questions for the witness? Hearing none, are there any other witnesses testify in opposition to the bill? For informational purposes only. Senator Brown, do you have any other closing comments?
I'll point out on the first page, number 2, oversight bodies shall require an applicant under this section to take and pass the examination specific to the occupation or profession, which is required for licensure. So I think that should resolve the concerns of the previous witness. It does have any kind of profession-specific testing would still be required by anyone applying for the temporary license. And with that, I just once again thank the committee for the opportunity to present.
All right, thank you. I make a motion to move into executive session. I have a second. I have a second. I move that Senate Bill 1083 be brought before the committee. Do I have a second? I have a second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is before the committee. I move that Senate Bill 1083 be voted out of committee. Do pass. Do I have a second? I have a second. This Senator Berger's bill, Senator Berger presented this bill last week, which modifies requirements for applicants for a respiratory care license. Senator, do you have any additional comments to that? Okay, is there any discussion? Hearing none, I should call the roll. Oh, I'm sorry, Senator Brown.
I was going to say, I filed a lot of legislation about removing barriers. I had some concerns that maybe this might be creating some, but that being said, I would like to educate myself a little bit more on the different testing systems, and so I'm willing to vote present for the time being and continue the conversation, and I look forward to speaking with you more and seeing if I can get to a place where I can be a yes on it.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, Ashley, call the roll to vote Senate Bill 1083 out of committee to pass.
Chairman Brown?
Aye.
Senator Berger? Senator Brown? Senator Huff? Senator Lewis? Senator McCreary? Senator Schwarber? 4-1.
By 4-1, the motion carries, and now I'll make a motion to move out of executive session to resume a regular hearing. I have a second. We're out of executive session with no further business come before this committee. We are adjourned.